Hi. So now let us see the first thing in this SQL actually. So that is select a clause. Okay. So this is very important because most of the times we will use select clause only to retrieve the data from the database actually. Okay. So in this two clauses we are going to see which are mandatory for any querying actually. So that is select clause. So let us see. This is what the data we have in the database. So table name is EMP and these are the 8 columns we have. So and 14 rows are there. Okay. Now by using this select command, you can select the data actually from this table. Okay. So how and all, let us see. So the basic thing is, first of all, select syntax is select what you need from this table, some columns actually, or all columns. So either at least one column or column, all columns. Okay. So that is what, which columns you need, you can name them after select, and then from which table actually, because you see in this database, you may have more than one table actually. So from which specific table you need the data, that table name you must mention after from clause. Okay. So these two clauses are mandatory things for any select command, because from which table you need the data, the table name you must mention, and in that particular table, which columns you need, either all columns or some columns actually, at least one column. Okay. So this is the syntax actually. Now, if you see in this, the very first one is select all columns. As I told you, at least one column or all columns. Okay. So if you need all columns, you no need to name them individually actually, EMP number, ename, job, MGR, like that. Because in the real time, you may have more than many columns actually in one table. Sometimes more than 50 columns also possible actually. But every time writing all the columns is not recommended thing. Simply if you use the star, then definitely you are going to get the all columns from the table actually. So this is what. So let us see now that in a practical part. So here if you see, we have already EMP table. So that is what you can see here. So this is what the schema. So these are the columns we have actually. So you can see here. So total 8 columns are there. Now all columns we need. So what we will write actually. So select star, we need all columns from table name is EMP. Okay. So if I execute this command, what is going to happen? So let us see. Yeah. So database I need to select. Yeah. Now let us see. So here you can see we got the data. So we got the data in this table actually. So you can see total 14 rows are there in this table actually. So total 14 rows. So in this way, first of all, very first thing you have to understand, nothing is there in this. If I am using star means all columns you need in the output actually. So you can see all columns are there in the output. Okay. Now, so that is what, so it is giving the entire table, whatever you have the data actually. Now, if you need specific columns, so simply you mention the column name section. So that let us see here. So let us see in this actually. So here select, so EMP number, for example, ename. Suppose I need EMP number, ename from EMP table actually. So now let us see. Okay, I must mention the database name. So AR dot. Okay. So now if I run this one, so you can see only those two columns are there in the output. Okay. So here you can see. So either you can add extra columns. So simply whatever columns you need, you just add them here actually. That's it. So now you see cell is also added. So this is very simple one. So importantly, you must remember. So in this case, you will get EMP number, ename, DEPT number actually. So these three columns only I need in my output. Okay. So this is what the very first thing you must understand, that how to use the select clause. So in the you are writing the select clause means either you need all the columns or some specific columns. So if you need all the columns, star you use. If you need specific columns, what those column names you just mention after the select command. After that, use the from clause, that means from command. In that you mention the table name actually. So from which table these columns you need actually. So from which table you need all the columns data. So that is what table name must mention after the from clause. And very importantly, remember that whenever you are using the select command means mandatorily select clause from clause must present in the query actually. So that is the mandatory two things, because we discussed in the previous lecture that you have where clause, group by clause, having clause, all these things. All those are optional actually. So that you can observe here, without having those also, we are able to execute. But if I remove from clause, so let us observe what we are going to get, because from which specific table you need the data actually. So that is what it is going to throw a error. So here you can see unknown. Yeah, this one, this you can see unknown column EMP number in the field list actually. So from where this data it is unable to identify actually. Okay, so that is why you must have from clause. Okay, now you can see. So yeah, you must mention database name. So now if I run, yeah, now you got the data. That is what total 14 rows are returned actually. Okay.